As a young man, my mother raised us in a home of extraordinary consciousness for the times. Um, she had grown up very poor. She lived in lanes and never on Front Street. And she told me a story once that made me cry. It makes me almost want to cry now. That she'd been so hungry that when people would throw away an orange that they'd already sucked the juice out of, because fruit was plentiful and cheap, they just sucked the juice out of an orange and throw it down. She'd pick it up and eat it. And she went from there to being moderately well off, if not well off, by the time I came in the world. We were a relatively prominent black family in Savannah. I've never been poor. I've never been materially deprived. But my friends were, my family was, and I was conscious of it. My first frustration as a little boy with being black that jumps out at me, I still remember. There was a movie playing downtown at a place called the Wise Theater, and it was about leprechauns, Darby O'Gill and the Little People. And I saw it, the preview on the television. I said, I'm going to see that, I'm going to see that. My brother Arthur said, you can't go there. I said, what are you talking about? I can't go there. I'll save my money. I can go. He said, you can't go there because we're black. And I didn't see that. I saw the movie ultimately about 8 or 9 years later. But it stayed in my heart and my conscience. And that was kind of, I think, the first time I realized there was, because we was in a neighborhood, we had friends, we was a community. This white thing, they were over there, we were over here. But then as I grew, I realized that there were things that I wanted to do and things that I saw that wasn't right. And I was a voracious reader even as a young child. And so I then understood some of the history and the struggle. And so I had we had an older cousin who had helped raise my mother named Macon C. Chisholm, and he was an executive in the local civil rights with W.W. Law. And they were boycotting a store by the name of Bargain Corner on Bay Street. And they ran out of people who were able, because people had to work, to picket the store that we were boycotting. And I guess I must have been 11 to 12 years old. And he came and asked my mother, could I do it? And then he came and asked me, strange as that was, they used to just tell us, but he came and asked me if I was willing, and he'd give me 50 cents a day. Oh, that was made me young boy rich at that time. And so I did it. And on a given day, and the time that actually seared me, to put a brand in my heart for it. On a given day, a lady came and she drove up with her maid, black maid, white lady driving, black maid in the back seat. They couldn't sit on the same seat in her car. And she turned around to the lady, and I was close enough to hear it, and told her to take this list and go in and buy items. And the black lady in the back said, we can't do that. We can't cross the line. And she started using profanity. The white lady, as we say in the South, cursed her out. And she fired her. And I could look in that lady's face and realize she needed that job bad. But she didn't cross that line. I saw that black lady in her maid's uniform slowly step out of that car, needing that job for her family. needing that job bad for her children, her household, her face awash with tears, she stepped onto the curb and stood there in the dignity of her principles. And her face was just wet with water. And when my cousin came back, cousin Macon, as we called him, like I said, when he came back and I told him what happened, and I told him, I don't want you to pay me anymore. And that was the last time, believe it or not, that I ever took any money for functioning on behalf of civil rights. I've never worked in a campaign or anything, and I worked in dozens, scores of political campaigns, but I've never taken a dime from anybody and won't.
What did that whole interaction, I guess, mean to you? What did it tell you, that interaction?
That told me that I guess as a little boy, it didn't tell me all this, but ultimately I came to it. It told me that folks hated us and that the vestiges of slavery had never been quite washed away. And so it hurt. I had a couple of little white friends, the Ganem children, that we'd played with a few days, not a lot, but sometimes. They lived across the street from the elementary school we went to, that I went to, but they didn't go there. The school was absolutely all black teachers, students, administration, just blackety black all the way through. So, and I grew up understanding. And my mother, principally, and my father also was conscious, but my mother principally informed my understanding and shaped my demeanor in terms of community. She was one of the most brilliant people I've to this day met, and I've been around the world.
I love that. So how did you, when it came to, you were one of the first black students to attend Savannah High School, how did that come about, and what was that experience like?
Well, of course, we were doing the demonstrations over and over. We were on the Huntley-Brinkley hour. We demonstrated, and they said about 2,000 or 3,000 of us laid down by the Talmadge Bridge and wouldn't let traffic come between Savannah and South Carolina.
Oh,
On a given night, we were on TV.
I gotta look that up.
Yeah, so, but that wasn't the NAACP now, that was the Chatham County Crusade for Voters, which was started by Hosea Williams. And then because I'd been active in that and going to jail, well, for me at that time, since I was a little boy, to the juvenile detention center. They'd lock us up and take us out there. My mother wouldn't let me stay very long because I was so little, but my brothers would stay 2 weeks. I couldn't stay no more than about a day or two. She couldn't take it, I guess, me and her baby. So, and then they came to the schools and looked at, to the black school when they finished the case of Stell versus Board of Education, which integrated the schools in Savannah. And they came in, I was in the 9th grade, and they basically went through the school records I wasn't making the best grades, but I had this high aptitude. I was just bad. I was, they say don't say bad. I was mischievous, and so, um, but they came and asked me if I would go, and I had the regular fare of black people at that time, because they always told us we were not as smart as white people. They said we were second class and this, that, and the other. And I didn't have enough dealings with white folk to know the difference. But that's how they picked me, just based on a high aptitude.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what was your first day like?
The first day at Savannah High, well, the Savannah Youth Council of the NAACP tried to prep us. We had actually little classes where they would tell us what to expect. And of course, we were given the orders to maintain nonviolent civil disobedience. Don't fight nobody, don't argue. If the police come and get you, just cooperate and go. Don't resist arrest. Don't give them a reason to hurt you. Well, we had they sent a bus, and several of us got on this short school bus. The first time I'd ever seen a school bus that only carried about 15 people, but most of the time they carried about 50. So, but they sent us the short school bus because there wasn't many of us. So we got on the bus, and we went to Savannah High. But the bus driver, because people were in the Washington Avenue where the school is, has a garden in between the two lanes, going one way and going the other way. So it's like a boulevard. And white families, adults, were packed into that boulevard along that street. And I guess the bus driver was afraid, so he put us off about a block and a half away from the front door. And said, you got to walk from here. For those of you who are familiar, he put us off on the corner of Reynolds and Washington Avenue. And we had to walk past the recreation field, past a couple of houses, then the recreation field. And I don't know how you're going to feel about this, but I believe in telling it like it is. I was called nigger more times that day than any other day in my entire existence. I mean, these people were screaming, they were adults. It was my 15th birthday, September 3rd, 1965. And I was doing all I could as a 15-year-old. And so we got off the bus. I had older brothers, so they taught me little tactics. I told the girls, y'all walk near the fence side. I'll walk in the sidewalk closer to the cars. If I start fighting, which I knew I'd lose, you all run. And grown white men and women were running between the cars on the park side and screaming, and they were saying, nigga, I'll kill you. And you get back on that bus. If you don't, I'm gonna kill you, sorry son of a, and it was, I almost fear to think that some of those people are still alive, still making up a part of our community. That's one of the things that's sometimes in the back of our minds. The strange thing was, though, we got to the school, went through the front doors. I mean, the building's still there. As soon as we got through the front doors, up the steps and through the front doors, there were young white kids on the other side of the doors apologizing to us for what their parents just did. So I'm trying to put this together. I'm not saying I didn't get called that at times inside the school, but there was obviously a group of, or a number of kids who weren't feeling like they were. And somehow they messed up my transcripts, didn't get it in the right place when I tried to register. And they put me in the big auditorium there. And I was sitting there thinking, they set me up, they're gonna come and get me. And a man came in, large man, probably, I'm 6'2", I weigh about 280. I'm thinking Mr. Thigpen was, if not my size, he felt like he was. And he walked in and he said, Leonard Small. And I said, yes, sir. Come with me. I got up. He put his hand on my shoulder, a big old hand. I'm a little fella, you know. He said, Leonard, I need to tell you something. I said, what? He said, I'm the chief counselor here, and I've looked at your scores. And he said something that took away my fear. He said, nobody's in the school smarter than you. He said, your test scores are off the charts. You belong here. And don't let anybody tell you different. It put steel in my spine. And it also made me understand that everybody's, and I hate to say it like I say it, but everybody ain't that white all the way through. You know, some people are human. And he was a marvelous, marvelous man. And I met some that were not. I had a teacher gave me 6 Fs in 6 weeks periods in biology. She flunked every black student in 10th grade in that biology course. And we had to go to summer school. And you got to remember now, we were the best and the brightest. We were not slack. One of the young men who went to Savannah High in the next group behind us became the highest ranking African American in the history of the Marine Corps, 3-star General Walter Gaskin.
Wow.
Personal friend.
Wow.
And brother to me. The people that came with us were special, were some of the best and brightest and most intuitive young people in the community, black or white. And I have lifelong friends from the white community. There were people in the community that embraced us, even if some of them got called, and again, excuse the language, that called nigger lover because we hung together. Big David Ring off of Savannah Beach, Will Strong. These are people that, Ronald and Donald Smith, Chevy and Debbie Herndon. These are friends, close friends. And Mary Puckett. And her brother, I can't think of his first name, but these were people that were friends and supported us. A brother named Frank Oots. And I came in to my class, and there's a guy named Eric Richmond owns the Welsh Pawn Shops. And Dave Oldman and Frank Oots. I came in my first class and sat down, and the kids scattered. You know, I just got in the first class, homeroom. And Frank, Greg, and Eric came and sat next to me. So yeah, So it's a mixed bag. It's a mixed bag. I've seen the worst of us, and I've seen the best of us. But I got started uh, under the tutelage of Hosea Williams and Ben Clark. People like Addie Byers. I can't think of Miss Bannister's name at this point. But they made all the difference.
So what was life like after high school? How did you kind of stay involved in the movement?
I stayed involved in the movement for a minute, but I became an angry black man. I went in the streets. I didn't think we were going to get decent breaks, and so I was going to make me some. I became a thug. Sold drugs. Ran a continual criminal enterprise. Had a little gang of guys. Some of the guys that, strange as it might sound, some of the guys that was with me, when I quit, because I had a revelation of quitting, I just quit. And they left me and went to the Ricky Jivens gang, which became a super violent group of people. And just being angry. And I probably wouldn't have come back to the civil rights movement except for the fact that I was called. And I know a lot of people don't believe this kind of thing, but I actually heard a voice in the county jail, and I accepted it. And I did my time, came home a preacher, and have functioned in my ministry now more than 50 years.
How did your relationships change in that time? Haven't you interacted with the people who were there when you were first, I think you said the judge?
Well, I got sentenced on November the 12th, 1975, in the county courthouse, which was where the county commission meets now.
Right.
In that building, on the second floor, in the room where they meet now, was a courtroom. I was sentenced, and these are the words that judge said. I was sentenced to 7 years hard labor in the Georgia State Penitentiary. I came home, got my life together, started working in the community, started helping people, got to be friends with Judge Gaston, for whom the new courthouse is named, and Dr. Wesley Ball. He was, I think, the chief surgeon at Candler. Both African Americans, both big in the movement. And they took me under their wings. And from that, they told me that they needed me in the movement because I was straight, I was strong. They knew my mother, and they understood that what had been put in me was incorruptible. And so, and they knew that I had, I guess I had the nerve. I didn't have fear of what men might do, as most people would, which is not unreasonable, by the way. But I was able to work with them. They tutored me, and I started doing things that made a difference in the community. it was, but I'd grown up around extraordinary people. Reverend Louis Scott Stell uh, used his sons, particularly his son Ralph, uh, for the suit that integrated our schools before they were integrated other places. Stell versus Board of Education. We were so close, as the families were so close, we have a quote, every Stell is a Small and every Small is a Stell. And we basically were nurtured to stand up and speak up, but at the same time, to not be corrupt. And my time when I was locked up, I used more, the judge gave me the time, but I used it like it was a monastery. And I studied and I read and I gained some degree of theology.
Wow. And didn't you say, I remember the last time I spoke with you, you said you actually came very close to Martin Luther King at one point, didn't you? Like just a few feet away?
Yes.
I know it's a different time in your life. But.
Well, I told you I was 11 or 12 when he came. But the time I remember him coming, I was close where he was. Where I got to the Savannah City Municipal Auditorium, the Municipal Auditorium for the city of Savannah. It was where the Civic Center is now.
Okay. Wow.
Okay, and I got there early because I wanted to see if he might come down the aisle, and I got there and got me an aisle seat. And sure enough, he came down the aisle. He was walking next to Reverend Stell, again, who was a neighbor and a family friend. And and Reverend Stell introduced him that night. And he started talking about the ills, and I got mad with white people. I got, and then he flipped the strip on us. He turned another thing and started talking about if you hate them for being white and they hate you for being black, you have become your enemy. You have become exactly what you detest. And by the time he was finished, I understood that I'm not angry, even with those people that screamed at me going into that school. Even then, because his coming to Savannah was the same year and before that march into the school. I wasn't allowed, and that speech had me where I could not hate them. I only felt sorry for them. It's true they were dangerous. It's true they were mean and vicious, venomous, but they were misguided. They were to be pitied. And then some of my best friends in my life, lifelong friends, one who died not long ago, Terry Phillips, another down in Florida, Carl Wagner. I was his best man at his wedding. All of that shaped me. All of that gave me a deal with people one at a time spirit. Never assume who's going to be your friend or who's going to be your enemy.
Yeah. You look at people as humans. You look at people as humans.
Extraordinarily human. As a matter of fact, I consider myself the blackest preacher in Savannah, politically, physically, theologically, whatever. But at the same time, I'm not just a black man. I'm a human. I'm a Christian. I'm an American. I'm a patriot. I love America sometimes when America doesn't quite appear to love me.
So, and then I know that you were involved with the Civil Rights Monument on River Street. How did that come about? It took a little while for that to get done.
By that time, by the time that we were talking about the Civil Rights Monument, a lady who spearheaded it and probably paid most of the money for it, by the name of Abigail Jordan, Dr. Abigail Jordan. Um, People knew that I could get things done and had some political sway. And so they called me. She called me, meet her at her house, and we talked and strategized as to how to pull it off. It took 10 years. Even when we had black majorities on council, people are African American politicians, like all politicians, are very paranoid when it comes to their positions. And so they were slow to pull the trigger to allow us to do it. But with persistence, like I said, it took about 10 years. And we were able to erect that monument on River Street. It was my idea to have a modern family. But we had women in the group, the same women who did the Juneteenth, Marilyn Jackson, Solana Plains, Deborah Sawyer, she's passed away. Ivan Cohen, even though he's a man, he's not a lady. He was a part of the Daughters of Mary Magdalene, as they called them. And they started the Juneteenth celebrations in Savannah like 12, 15, 20 years before the national holiday. And she came and got me and us. Dr. Jordan came and got me and us and told me, okay, we're trying to do this. And we fought to do it. I had been a general contractor. I knew how to do scale drawings. And so I designed a pedestal that's there. And the idea of a modern family, because our sculptress, Miss Bradley, a white lady from Savannah College of Art and Design, wanted a, she bless her heart, she wanted a black family dancing in a circle from slavery time. No! And then I wanted a black family, modern family, and I wanted the man and a daughter and a son, and I wanted the man standing up behind his wife and the wife sitting down. Those women told me no, and they said no, she got to stand next to him, and that's what you have. We have a modern family standing, looking eastward down the river. The Savannah River runs at an angle that would, if you look straight down the river, it goes towards the west coast of Africa. And so it's like they're looking back across the sea. And that's why the monument is not facing City Hall. It's facing Africa.
So interesting. And then, so we had recent news, the Supreme Court ruling with the Voting Rights Act. What was your reaction when you first heard the news?
The carving away of what we worked so hard for, what some of us suffered and bled and even died for. One of my friends, Robbie Robinson, was assassinated by a pipe bomb on Abercorn and Anderson Street because his name was listed as one of the lawyers on Stell versus Board of Education. Judge Vance also was one of the civil rights lawyers in Alabama. And he received a bomb before Robbie's did, and he was assassinated also. I forgot what you asked me.
What your reaction was when you heard the news about the Voting Rights Act?
Oh, okay. I get caught up.
Good.
Angry, hurt, my thought is, to this minute, my concern rather, is are we African Americans ever going to be given a fair shot in America? In a nation that could so easily do it, has been surrounded with verbiage that says it's a must, and has consistently allowed those who would resist reasonableness to prevail. We have lost 50 years of struggle under this Supreme Court. But it's not the first Supreme Court to have done this. All the way back to the Colfax riot, one of the uprisings that very few people know about. But many times when black folks have gained some ground, there's a white backlash. This civil rights being undone concerning the Voting Rights Act is a direct white backlash to Barack Obama's presidency. It is frustrating, but at the same time, I never thought in my lifetime that I would see even a man who was half black occupy the White House as president. And then he did it with such poise and dignity. And so I'm hurting. I'm hurting my friends. Andy Young, John Lewis. John Lewis got hit so hard that he was already thick-tongued. It got worse immediately and stayed that way for the rest of his life. But even in the failures, even in the process of losing some of the gains, don't let anybody tell you my life has not been worth living. It's been an adventure. I wouldn't take anything from a journey, as the old people would say. And so it hurts. It hurts to think that in 2026, some of what we thought we'd corrected has been uncorrected, I guess. And my son or my grandson or my little great-grandson may very well have to fight these same battles. That hurts.
I guess what's the message you'd like to share for anyone watching this?
For those watching this, a friend of mine, Tony Sitter, brought me a book by Frederick Douglass. Had some of his speeches in it. And Frederick Douglass talked about not being able to enjoy the 4th of July celebration of the independence. And I have a hard time enjoying it also. But nevertheless, I am working to preserve the Weeping Time property where 436 slaves were offered, 429 were sold in a 2-day period here in Savannah, Georgia. While there are rumors that there may have been larger sales, our research says there wasn't a larger sale in American history. Nevertheless, we're not trying to remember it to point fingers or to assess blame on even the people who did it. We're trying to remember it so that those coming behind us will understand how cruel we might be to each other and not be that cruel. That there would be a place where they would walk, and we're going to try to put their names in a wall. I have it on posters now of the slaves who were sold. When I read those names, and I know some of the people's young people who came from them. I know the great-grandchildren. I know the grandchildren of the people's names that were sold that day. I fear that we will never stop being racist, but I'm determined to not stop trying to eliminate that cancer from our consciousness. It is such a waste. It debilitates our capacity to meet our potential as a nation. Racism has been the central stupidity of an extraordinary people. We're sharp on medicine, we're sharp in science, we're sharp in technology. I mean, we're blessed, we're gifted, and we have resources, and we keep stumbling over this stupidity called racism. They went into the capital of the United States of America, and they draped themselves and brandished large Confederate flags. That tells you the spirit that still haunts us. And I'm not saying haunt them, that haunts us. Because when I put my hand over my heart and I turn toward a flag, I pledge allegiance and mean it. And I think we have not done it, but I think we ought to become one nation under God, indivisible with liberty and justice for all. I still believe it, in spite of being threatened, in spite of people at times when I'm in the news calling my house and cursing me and threatening me and my family, my kids. I'm still going to stand on this wall and not come down as long as I can.
I was going to say, what's your hope for the future, and what legacy do you hope to leave behind?
My hope for the future, again, is that my kids and my grandkids will grow up in a land where they are not kept back from the benefits that white kids and families are bequeathed by birth. I, as far as the legacy is concerned, I don't really do a lot of that. That's just we're singing a church that I constructed.
Yeah, you built this, right?
Yes, I built this. I drew it and hired subcontractors to help me with it. But my name's not on it, and that's by design. Instead of leaving flags with my name on them, I'd rather leave footprints that my children could follow. It's just, I've got over 50 orphans in Liberia from Ebola from 2017. We had over 100 at one point in time, but life is hard there, so some of the kids had to drop out of school to help their families. We pay for their schooling. There are no public schools. There are no free public schools in Liberia. All schools you have to pay to get an education. I have a couple of stewards over there that see that my kids are educated. My last time over there was 2017. I have children graduating from high school now. Wow. These are mine. If they never say my name, they're my legacy. I started and operated a Christian drug intervention program called Resurrection House. I did it for 25 years. We helped hundreds of people recycle their lives from drugs to back into being assets in the community. My chief administrative assistant, and the chairman of my trustee board here at the church, both came through my drug treatment program. Wow. And they're extraordinary human beings. Oh, they happen to marry each other too. Wow. Yeah, they're married about 30 some years now. But that type of work, we returned probably more than 500 kids to their parents once we got them off drugs. Wow. So it's been a good ride. And I've preached and taught. I've taught nonviolent civil disobedience in Africa, Asia, Europe, and all over America. And I lectured for an international think tank for some years. So, it's a good thing to have a global mind and a local heart.
Completely agree. I'm thinking, I think it's pretty much everything I have. Is there anything else you want to add that I might have missed?
The struggle to take these stands often have little quirks in them, and this is just an aside. For about 15 years, I did a show on the main local black radio station, WSOK. I did that show up until the year 2000. And still do it, but on other venues. During a given election season, I supported a white Republican for the mayor. He lost. The next day, the station people came in and told me they weren't going to let me just do my show. They'd have to edit it, which means I wasn't going to do it anymore because I wouldn't allow that. And so basically, they put me off the radio. 2 years later, a young man came to my house and said he had been involved in a radio station and Someone told him that if anybody could help him with it, it would be me. As a result of some set of circumstances, I ended up owning my first radio station. So I couldn't be put off the station anymore. And now we own and operate 3.
Wow.
So that's kind of how things have worked for me. I was one of the first. I was the first African American to be the lifeguard at an integrated pool. Davenport Park was the white people's pool. Tompkins Gym was the black people's pool. I was a lifeguard at Tompkins Gym, and then when they integrated, I went over to Davenport Park to lifeguard, and then all the white people left. Immediately. I'm just saying, I got up on the stand and they just, but within 3 days, there wasn't no white people coming.
Oh.
No, that's all that's in it.
Yeah.
All that's in it. And I've been blessed. I've been married to this wonderful lady for more than 50 years. Been pastoring this church for 43 years. And my life has not been just lived, it's been an adventure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And,
History.
yeah, we're still going through some things. I have a recurrent cancer. Supposed to be terminal, but it was supposed to be terminal already.
Yeah.
Do I look like I'm terminal? Well, I'm not the strongest, but nevertheless, we're working. And I have great hope without requests. I've been out in this Thunderbolt area, like I said, for about four decades. The mayor of Thunderbolt, with an all-white council about 3 or 4 years ago, started giving us proclamations supporting the saving of the Weeping Time property. And on occasion, I go and open the meetings with the invocation. Now we're looking at an all-white council in a small Georgia municipality, and they understand the need for us to keep all of our history, because Black history is American history.
Yeah. I know that you just accepted the Juneteenth proclamation.
Yeah, about a week or 2 ago,
Yeah.
they called me to do the invocation and give me a proclamation celebrating Juneteenth.
That's special. It's
Yeah,
like
very special.
Yeah,
And one of the oldest men on that council said that we need to do more in commemorating Juneteenth. And and here's a quirk, and I don't know if this will be something you want to insert somehow. While we're getting pushback in Savannah, Georgia, for saving the Weeping Time property, with a supermajority Black council, down in Darien, Georgia, and you got to remember now, the Weeping Time Cultural Corridor Authority is for the corridor all the way to Butler Island.
Yeah.
And so I went down there, and Bubba Hughes, the mayor of the mighty metropolis of Darien, Georgia, we had a meeting when they were talking about putting a business on that property. And he agreed with me that that property needs to be saved for posterity. And I think I can almost quote him saying, in the southern drawl, like the good old boy he is, if we don't save that property a couple of generations from now, nobody will remember. And that was Bubba Hughes. Yes, we can do this. Now, I don't know if he's Republican or Democrat or Baptist or Methodist, I don't care. You know, he's a good man.